January 19th, welcome back to Edgework. I'm Zack Phillips, and today on this Friday, as we head into the weekend here, we're joined by Alex B. Smith, So Money Sports. We'll be breaking down the 4 NHL games ahead of us here tonight, briefly recapping what went on the ice last night around the NHL, as well as previewing a big weekend, which would include a nice internal matchup here on the Friday Edgework show, as well as the Monday Edgework show, I guess, as well. So we'll break those down. But before we can get into any of the contents of today's show, I want to remind people that today's show, as always, is sponsored by BetStamp. The easiest way to improve as a sports bettor is by using multiple sports books and always getting the best odds. We recommend using an odds comparison tool like BetStamp in order to help you do so. BetStamp compares odds across every sports book, whether it's for games, futures, or player props. You can save time and money by checking BetStamp before you bet. So make sure to download the app today. It is available on iOS, Android, as well as on the web. If you are looking to sign up for a new sportsbook account, you can check out the offers available at betstamp.app/edgework. That's betstamp.app/edgework. You can see the link to that in the description of the show, or you just type that into the bar there, and it does help support us for signing up through there. Now, if you go to the BetStamp app, like we suggest that you do, and you download that, you go to the Find Better section, or you go to the featured page, you can see the Edgework HQ account where we track all of our picks, and you'll see so far on this season, 195, 188, and 5 over 388 bets. That's 7% ROI for us on the season this year. That also adds in last night's 4-3-1 night. You know, we push on the Philly, Dallas under 6 there, 5-1 Philly finish. We did also have the Dallas money line. Then we also lose in the under 6.5 in Tampa, Minnesota. Tampa scores 7 themselves, so it's a little bit of a tough go around for ourselves in that regard. But nonetheless, still winning night 4-3-1. We'll look to keep it rolling here tonight. And Alex B, talking about winning nights, you had yourself a pretty good night last night.
Yeah, I did. Yesterday was a great evening. Wrapping up the night was Nashville going against the LA Kings, and it's a spot that I mentioned it to you guys off the air when we finished up on Monday. I kind of talked about this to anyone that's in my kind of close circle for the last week, looking at this spot where we've been seeing LA just going on this really bad slump on the road. They ended up splitting the last 2 games, that they had a Monday afternoon game in Carolina. They finally got the win to end the 8-game losing streak, and then they go right into Dallas, different time zone the next night, get blown out 5-1. And then it set up a storm of you have a team coming back home off of a bad road trip. LA, who hadn't been playing well at home, they've now lost 13 of the last 20 games that they played at Crypto.com Arena, and they were going up against a Nashville team laying a price, and Nashville had won 11 of the last 14 meetings. It was a tough fought battle. All 3 goals came in the second period, but Nashville was able to hold on, and LA had all the life early, but they couldn't convert. And you could just see something to keep a note of when we talk about that scenario of first game back home off of a long road trip. Those home teams expend a lot of energy in the first period, and if they don't get a goal, you kind of see the body language and everything kind of revert to, all right, we've given all that we could. We were already dead tired coming in after this long trip, and that's when you kind of see those teams just deflate and not really able to hold on. Now, LA is a better team than Nashville. That's why that game was just a 1-goal game throughout. But in those spots, you have to kind of identify and look for those sometimes. And it was great value. That game should not have been lined, in my opinion, with Nashville as high as plus 140 when it opened. So grab that, and that was my biggest play of the year. And me and the clients are super happy. And so it's nice to find those when you have them. It's been hanging around in your head for about a week or so, and you get it and it cashes. It's a really good feeling.
Nice. Congratulations. That is a pretty good win there. Pretty big day for yourself. And Alex, I don't know if you heard yesterday why So Money, he couldn't come to the show, but those in the chat, they figured it out pretty quickly. He got called in because the Canucks, they announced that they're going to be looking to add at the deadline. They're trying to continue to build on this team. They think they've really got something there. So with that comes the need to prepare for things like Stanley Cup parades. And they noticed that So Money has been so far ahead that he got called in yesterday to help give advice and strategize on how they were going to go about the Vancouver with the parade. So Money was not on the show yesterday. Yeah, exactly. Like you want to get ahead of those things, right? You can't let it sneak up on you. So Money, how was your day yesterday planning the parade?
Yeah, it was good. There's a lot of logistics involved with these kind of things, right? Like it's not only just a route. It's like planning like like the events around it and everything. So we're getting a good head start
Security and
here,
yeah,
right? Yeah. So
right.
we are getting a good head start here, and it it's just going to sneak up on us in the next 6 months here. So 5 months. So like we got to be ready for it.
Yeah.
Fair
Yeah,
enough.
it's a lot. There's vendors, there's music.
Yeah,
I've seen 3 parades, so I know exactly how it goes. It's a lot of things,
and like
That's
yeah,
a dick.
wow. Oh, that hurts.
Well,
You
I've
guys like
seen
that one.
one. It wasn't here in it wasn't for the Leafs. It was for the Raptors. But I could tell you that they probably did not anticipate that one coming, and that was a gong show. So yeah, good on you, so money. Get ahead of it. Like you don't want to have what happened here, where they're like, we don't celebrate anything in this city, and all of a sudden one sneaks up on you. You're like, whoops,
Or
and then
Cleveland. When the Cavs
right,
won, the entire state of Ohio was literally in Cleveland. So yeah, you have to really kind of
right.
prepare for those things.
Right. You want to make sure that you're ready
Yeah.
for it and you're prepared. Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you were involved in that, so money. I'm glad to see some representation from the Edgeworks show. And as I mentioned off the top, there we do have a Leafs Canucks game here this Saturday. So I'm going to issue a challenge to the chat. I asked So Money ahead of time if So Money would be interested in a little friendly wager between the two of us for Saturday night's game. We have not necessarily come up with anything that we could wager on this game yet. If anyone in the chat has anything within reason, let's be reasonable here, but if you've got anything within reason that we could do for if our teams lose, send it in the chat. If there's something good enough, maybe So Money and I can agree on that by the end of the show.
So one restriction here: we
Okay.
don't touch either of our hair.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's it.
I had a feeling that was going. That's fine. That's fine. I'm getting a haircut later today anyways. Get it trimmed up because it got ridiculous. My barber
Wait, you know
was
what?
away
How ironic
changing
is that?
shops. Not good.
Wait, guys. How ironic is this, though? Zach, you mentioned it. Leafs and Canucks are playing on Saturday, and then Canucks turn around and play the Blackhawks on Monday. Zach, you need a haircut. I need a haircut, but So Money's already ruled hair out of the equation. That's kind of unfair, isn't it?
This is off limits at all times.
I get it.
That's fair. That's fair. Uh, all right. Well, we'll get into today's show. We'll get into the games here tonight. If people have questions about the games, and again, send those challenges into the. Oh my, I'm seeing a couple already. If people have challenges or things that you could do that we could wager on, send them into the chat throughout the show as well. If you have questions about the games or anything like that, send those over. Also, another reminder. We are less than 20 subscribers away now from 2,000 subscribers. I know I've been annoying about it, but the more I've said it, the more you guys have subscribed. So hit that subscribe button. Moretto and I are planning some other content stuff that we could do here on this channel, but we need that 2,000 subscribers for some of that to start to kick in. So hit that subscribe button, like the stream, help support the show. You guys are listening every time I say it, so I'm just going to keep saying it until we get to that 2,000. We're real close now, so please hit that subscribe button. Help show some support to the show here. But let's get into today's action. We do have 4 games ahead of us, starting at God. Alex, every time I look at the schedule, it reminds me of the rant you had gone on about the way that this thing is laid out. Friday night, why not play 3 games at 7 and 1 at 8:30? Just perfect way to send us into the weekend. And we'll start with the Columbus Blue Jackets here hosting the New Jersey Devils. Columbus coming in plus 136. You see the Devils right now minus 148, a total of 6.5 in this game. Alex, what are your thoughts on where this game is lined and the total right now?
I mean, it's a tough one, and it's looking at this board. Like I said, it's tough to have all these kind of games kind of sandwiched together, and then you're just kind of looking around and seeing if I want to do something live, which game do I kind of pop out in front? And with this, this spot here with New Jersey, Columbus, I'm looking at this over 6.5. Is that what I'm seeing? Can you pull those? I can't get the bet stamp.
Yeah.
There we go. All right, so 6.5. This makes a lot of sense when you're talking about a Columbus team, especially how bad they look in the third period. That seems where they give up the bulk of their goals. Now, I hit with Columbus earlier in the week against So Money's Canucks, of course. That was a spot situation. I wasn't necessarily saying, Columbus is going to step up and play as well as Vancouver. And I just don't see them really stepping up even here against the New Jersey team that started to be kind of getting that motor revving a little bit. It's draw season, and these two teams, the last time they played, they did go past regulation. But I'm not looking that way. I'm looking New Jersey in regulation. At Caesars, you can get that at Lane just $1.10. I think the Devils will be able to take care of business here. They have a strong track record against Columbus, and they should be able to get this done within 60 minutes. So New Jersey minus $1.10. I'll play that for a half unit.
All right, so half unit. There you go. New Jersey minus 110 in regulation. We'll take that half unit again here. We'll recap everything at the very end, so don't worry. But first play of the day. Now, So Money, what are your thoughts on this game, whether it be side or total?
Well, with either of these teams, you always want to look at the over, especially with some of the injuries that the Devils are dealing with right now, especially on the back end. But you look at where the line is right now, right? We're already at a pretty significantly juiced 6.5, almost pretty much a 7. So it's already been adjusted for it, right? Like if you're already that juiced on the 6.5, pretty much a 7. And you like the over, where do you think the line should be, right? And I think that it should be where it is. So there's no edge for me there on the total, even though I think that the over would be the look there. In terms of the side, Alex touched on it, but it's tough to get involved with Columbus right now. Like I saw that game against the Canucks, right, and like obviously, but that was a game that they really should have just put the Canucks away, right? And like they like got off to a slow start. There were times where the Canucks actually did play well to start the game, but you could see as the game progressed, they were just starting to lose their legs, right? And that was a situation where Columbus they did take advantage in the sense that that they came back in the third to tie it up, but it really shouldn't have been that close, and that's why I felt that it was a win for the Canucks to get that point. So that was Columbus is just not a good team. If they do stick around, it's because New Jersey's goaltending continues to struggle, and so for me the line is fair. The only look would have been the over, but the market's where it should be right now.
All right, well, that makes sense there. So we'll leave off that, but we do play the regulation, Devils in regulation, minus 110 for a half unit. And now moving on, we got 3 more games here left on the schedule for tonight. And next one would be the Florida Panthers hosting the Minnesota Wild. Florida currently sitting minus 190. Minnesota coming in at plus 170, and a total of 6 right now. 6.5 on some books across here, but 6 right now for the most part. Moretto talked about this team with the totals, where Florida should be at. So Money has also had the same points about where the totals should be at in these Florida games. So Money, we see a little bit of an adjustment from that 6.5 that we've been seeing on Florida now to the 6. What are your thoughts on where you see the total across a lot of these different books now, and kind of where the side is at?
Can we bring up the total there? Yeah. So let's go ahead and lock in the plus money under 6. So a couple of things there. We've talked about Florida a lot. This is an under team. It's an elite defensive team, and we do see the adjustment to 6. We're not gonna. I mean, going forward, I doubt that we're gonna see 6.5 and any more in Florida games. So we are down to the 6, but it's still a plus money 6. So that still has a built-in edge for me there. Fleury should start. Now, we talked about this, I think, earlier in the season when we kind of touched on goaltenders that, of course, they have a very high variance year to year. And sometimes goalies, it's just a weird dynamic where you have your priors on goalies, but in the following year, they just may not have it, right? Or they may turn it around completely, a complete 180 from year to year. So we've seen that with guys like Jonathan Quick. We've seen that with Casey DeSmith as a smaller example, right? So Gustafsson is one of those guys where last year he was outstanding, right? This year he hasn't been, right? So you can either sit and wait for him to turn it around, which in a lot of cases for goalies, it just doesn't happen. You just need to be ready to get to a point quicker where you just need to say that they just don't have it this year, right? And Gustafson is one of those guys. Fleury um, has not been having a great year, but better than last year. And also, there's not that big of a gap this year between Gustafson and Fleury as much as the market um, wants to make that case because of course it's different this year than it was last year with these two guys and the difference in between them. So um, Fleury and net, I don't view that as much of a downgrade this year with Gustafson, and Florida's an elite defensive team. Also, Minnesota, um, comments coming out of them that that 7-3 loss to Tampa Bay. I didn't score it as a 7-3 loss. There was a lot of um, significantly below average goaltending that that Minnesota got. They're not just league average, but even Gustafson's baseline this year, he was significantly below that. So that was one of those games where I just throw away. There's not much I'm going to take away from that game, and other than the fact that Minnesota still wants to be a defensive team, and we had comments coming out of their camp that. Doesn't change my perspective on them. So I think, and especially after giving up 7 goals, you think theoretically they are going to want to clamp it down again. So I think it's a good opportunity for the under here on the 6, especially if we're getting a plus money 6.
Well, we grabbed the plus money 6 there. I see Anth better asking or saying went with minus 125, 6.5. Joking, still need that conversion chart from you, so money. But if you look across, there are some minus 125s out there. Is that okay?
Yeah. One, plus money 6, under 6.5, 125 is fine.
All right, so we'll grab that. We grab the plus money at the under 6. But if you're out there looking, or if you're later in the day and you can find some stragglers out there, under 6.5, minus 125. Alex, what are your thoughts on where this Panthers team is coming into this game? Minus 190 against the Wild. Now, mind you, we did just talk about the fact that they did lose that game last night, 7-3 to Tampa, back-to-back for them. But nonetheless, Panthers still minus 190. You feel like this is a fair price and within range there, or what are your thoughts?
Oh yeah, the price makes total sense, and with the total, I agree with the look that so many has. But I would, and normally I would be right there. Oh yeah, let's get the plus money with a 6. But I would actually go and spend a little more and get the number of 6.5 for this because I don't trust Minnesota. Yesterday they pretty much got the death blow that's going to knock them out of the playoffs by realizing Jared Spurgeon's not returning. He's going to have back and hip surgery, which is really concerning to hear of those two things being lined up within a 6-week span of one another. You wonder if he's even going to be ready for training camp next fall, recovering from both of those issues at the same time. So best wishes to Jared Spurgeon. But that being said, he was the anchor of that whole team as the captain, and especially on that blue line. And you can notice the difference on how this team plays defensively with and without him in the lineup. And it showed last night where it's like, oh, he's not coming back, and that blue line is going to be in for a lot of work. You're going to see a lot of Brock Faber, this kid's up and coming. He's a Calder finalist potentially, and definitely a guy who's going to be sticking around in Minnesota for years to come. But he's not the guy to throw in and give 32, 35 minutes to all of a sudden playing as a number one defenseman. So it's going to be rough sledding ahead. But Florida, like I said, if they dictate the pace and tempo, they're not going to really want to light up the lamp. So I'm not rushing to grab a team total with them. I would go under 6.5, play it a little bit smaller, and lay that juice at that minus 125.
All right, well, so on the same page there on the under in that game. We have a couple more games to get to here. But before we can break down the final two, answer questions in the chat if there are any. I took a look at where the numbers are at for the show right now. Half the people watching today's show have not hit that like button. So guys, just basic numbers here. Let's at least get minimum 50% of you hitting that like button. If you're watching, you haven't yet, hit that like button, subscribe here to the channel. Let's get it closer and closer to 2,000. Surpass that 2,000 by the end of the weekend. I want to go into next week with 2,000 subscribers here on the channel as well. Hit that like button here on the stream today. 50% of you just have not done it yet. All right, 2 more games tonight. Next one we'll take a look at here. The Carolina Hurricanes hosting the Detroit Red Wings. Carolina minus 190. Detroit plus 180. A total of 6.5 right now. You see that across every book that you're looking at on BetStamp app. Alex, what are your thoughts on this Carolina team, the price that it's currently at, and the total right now?
Yeah, I mean, laying at 205 with this team and the goaltending issues are the things that kind of just stick with me. This team could just have a night where they play their standard hockey and shut things down on the back end, get a few goals, and grind out to a 3-1 victory, or things just go completely haywire. When you look at a team like Detroit, that they're kind of in that same kind of schizophrenic mode as well. These are two teams that need points desperately in their own respective races. And this feels like it could be one of those games that's close, despite what the lines are indicating. So this is one where I'm looking at that old regulation draw. You just kind of scroll down and look at the price. You can see plus 360 at both Pinnacle and Caesars. I think that's something that's worth throwing a little bit of a half unit on.
All right, half unit on the regulation time draw, plus 360 between Carolina and Detroit. So money. Is there a different way that you would approach this one?
Yeah, Alex touched on it with the Carolina goaltending. I mean, like obviously they're a very good team, right? And but you look at their game by game goaltending score here I have, and um, they just can't get consistent goaltending. And it's not just like it's not they I've said this before. They just need this team just needs league average goaltending. That's that's all they need to be very successful in this league, and they're not even getting that right. So it's it's really tough to get involved, and it's unfortunate because Carolina is a team that I do feel flies under the radar quite a bit. Um, they don't get a lot of fanfare, and even within the market, right? I think I do see opportunities with them in a lot of games, but I just can't trust their goaltending, right? So for that reason, I'll pass. Detroit is just pulling up their game scores here. Detroit, um, they are a pretty sneaky under team, right? But um, they still are inconsistent on defense as well, and for their games to stay under, they do need above average goaltending. So that's tough to rely on with like a younger team here. So for that reason, I think there's a lot of contrast here. So I will pass, but it is a game that definitely I'll have a keen interest in.
All right, and final game of the night here: the New York Islanders on the road to take on the Chicago Blackhawks. New York minus 240, the Blackhawks plus 213. Right now, a total of six, some 5.5s out there that you've looking around, but mostly sixes across the board. So, Money, we go to you first. I know there's a play that you were looking at in this game. What is it and why?
Yeah, I played the under six in here, and I like it up to minus 120. I have it. So there's an opportunity there. Even looking at, I see the yeah. So like up to minus 120, we're good. I do expect that to move down throughout the day. But a couple of things here, right? Like Chicago is it's they are they profile as a significantly under team, right? And the only reason why their games do go over is when Alex's buddy Soderblom has go, goes on one of his nights, right? So we don't have to worry about that today. Mrazek, he's been okay, right? Like I haven't really had a problem with his play, um, and I mean obviously definitely he's he's an upgrade over the other guys. So I do have the under here. Islanders. So for the longest time this season, Islanders were an over team, right? we, we we had a bunch of a bunch of Isles overs. We are starting to see that revert a little bit, where the last few games they are starting to kind of tighten it up defensively. Maybe they're starting to realize that they're just not that run and gun team that that they wanted to play like for some reason. So um, we are starting to have them kind of clamp up here, and Sorokin, all even though he hasn't had a great season by hit standards, is Chicago really going to worry you to take advantage of that? So I do like the under here, and that's where I'm at.
All right, well, we lock in the under here first and foremost. Under 6 minus 116 on Pinnacle. There are a bunch of minus 120s out there as well that so many does like. So shop around, make sure to get the best price. Make sure you've got sports books that you need in order to make those bets. And you can sign up at betstamp.app/edgework. It does help support the show. If you do need to sign up, Alex, these are your Blackhawks at home tonight against the Islanders. What are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, well, it's the third and 4 nights, and it's now the second leg of a back-to-back because of things that we got thrown off with the whole Buffalo game getting moved a day ahead, and things with the weather and the travel. So you've already got just a kind of a big disruption just in your whole schedule and plans and way of moving about. And then you get home, and your team that only has one top 6'4" right now, Jason Dickinson, a bunch of fourth liners. You got Seth Jones, who's just not coming back from injury, and then some guys who are just trying to work things out on the blue line. And as somebody mentioned last night, you had Arvid Soderblom, who didn't look absolutely horrific last night. He only gave up 3 goals, so it's not too bad. Problem is, there's no one to score for the Hawks right now. So, you can't allow 3 goals if your team can't score any. That being said, this series has trended under. 7 of the last 8 meetings have gone under the total. And that's the only thing that kind of really would stick out to me from a side or a total perspective. But I do like the draw in this spot. I like the draw more here than I do even with Carolina and Detroit. Because of that fact, like I said, if the Islanders are dictating the pace, they're going to probably play this low and slow too, just for their own kind of sake of, all right, let's work on our defense. And the numbers are going to look good because Chicago's not going to give you quality shot looks. They're not going to give you it's not going to – on paper – the numbers will look like, oh, they worked something out and the Islanders are getting better defensively. But if in the eye test, most likely what this will be is just a sleepy game, even for a 7:30 Chicago start. And this game probably ends up being 2-2 after 60 minutes. So at plus 360 at Caesars, give me the drawing.
All right, full unit on that?
Yeah, full unit.
All right, perfect. There you go. That'll do it for today's plays. Again, at the very end of the show here, we will recap everything that we have bet here, so don't worry. As well, if you want to track everything throughout the course of the season, you can find that all in the BetStamp app. Find better section as Edgework HQ. I saw some people sending some suggestions in the chat there, so we'll get to those.
I have a question.
Well. If you do have, yeah.
What is the hot chip challenge? I feel so out of it.
You've never seen those videos?
Alex, you know what it is?
No.
Yeah. It's all right. So the Carolina Reaper, it was the hottest pepper in the world. I think it's not like third, but this thing's hot enough. It's like pepper spray basically. And there's this one chip, and you eat it. And usually people film themselves. You got to eat the whole thing, no water, chew it up, and tough it out.
Yeah, that's so unfair to Zach. Like I'm fine with it, but
yes, I'll be fine with that too. So.
Oh God. All right. Well, we could do that one. I'll sacrifice it and do it. It is really hot. I'm pretty sure we have a video of Rob doing it.
Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna look that one up. But I mean, like obviously, I grew up around spicy, right? So
yeah,
let's
hot.
do it.
It's hot.
All right. Well, I think that one's the leading candidate right now. The other ones, I don't know how feasible they are to do, especially even on video. So that might have to be the one. But if you do have other suggestions for So Money Night to do and wager on this game on Saturday night, send them in the chat here before we finish off the show. But Alex, as we do every Friday, especially because we get these lighter Friday schedules for the NHL, look ahead a little bit to the weekend. Are there Jordan says, can't go off Rob's reaction. He thinks oregano is spicy. That's good. Are there any games you're looking forward to this weekend, Alex, whether just from a pure watching standpoint or something you're looking to bet on, teams you're looking to get behind, and just anything sticking out to you?
Well, I mean, I obviously going to be watching the Leafs Canucks game now. That's going to be fun knowing you guys got something riding on the line with that one. But no, LA, obviously talked about them in the loss last night. That was a big win for me. But now they're going to be taking on the New York Rangers. That should be kind of an interesting game. Is it a get right spot for LA? New York kind of going through the motions on the East Coast. Are we going to, maybe see them kind of regress? We've been seeing top tier teams kind of regress and have their own little struggles, but we haven't quite seen that from the Rangers in a minute. maybe they start kind of going a little bit of a skid here. So that's something I'll be kind of looking at here with that late game on Saturday night.
So,
And
sorry,
go
Alex,
ahead, somebody.
were you saying that you're looking for the Rangers to go on a skid?
Yeah, I'd say possibly like as far as like being a road team, like maybe they start to struggle. It seems like a lot of their victories have come at home, and a lot of their better play at home. So I'm kind of just identifying. I want to see how they're going to do on the road, kind of moving forward.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think that the Rangers are a team that I've also identified as a team that I would like to have opportunities um, going against them going forward, and of course, let's see what the line comes out tomorrow. But I think that the Kings would afford that opportunity. Obviously, the Toronto Vancouver game, although I'll probably be spending the day kind of handicapping all the different chip challenges, how you're supposed to hold it, where you're supposed to bite it, and all that. So
Right.
I think I'll be doing that research. And the other game that stands out to me too is the Pittsburgh Vegas game. Um, Pittsburgh, obviously a team that I'm very high on. Vegas, they're missing a lot, and they just don't look as good right now, right? There's a lot of elements to that to their game, and I've kind of had trouble with them. And I mentioned this previously with Vegas. They're the Cup champs, so they do get a lot of rope with me, but I'm reaching the end of my rope with them, right? Like I'm seeing just too many situations where um, they just don't look good, and I know they're missing a lot of key pieces. So we have to incorporate that into our assessment of them. But even beyond that, I think that um, I know a lot of my colleagues have already started fading them, and I'll get there eventually. I'll be late to the party, but I'm getting to that point too. So we'll see where the Penguins open, but that's another opportunity that I may have tomorrow.
All right. Well, Saturday night we do have the Canucks Leafs game. Alex, I'm going to go to you first and foremost. We don't do these on the show, but I want to know. Give me a prediction for the game, whether it's how it plays out, the final score, whatever it is. What's your prediction? Leafs Canucks Saturday night.
Well, I'm thinking it's going to be a kind of a quicker start. I could see kind of 1-1 after 20, so both teams to score first period over, kind of a look. And eventually it probably would be 5-4 Vancouver in overtime. So I'll be on the draw.
Okay. So money?
I think the Leafs. No. I think the Canucks kill him, and I think Zach dies.
Yeah, whether it's from watching the game or the chip challenge, well, either way, it might happen. I'm gonna go 1-0 Leafs after one. Leafs score a couple minutes into the second period, 2-0. Late Vancouver goal in the second period, 2-1. Vancouver 4 goals in the third period. Leafs lose 5-2 in reg. Come back. Yep. I think they play Sunday against Seattle too as well. But like, come back from this road trip. City's on fire. There's pitchforks outside Sheldon Keefe's office. Like the whole thing's a disaster. That's how this one goes. But so money, I'm in agreement. Canucks thump the Leafs, and we go down in flames on this road trip. But
City's on fire. Zach's on fire. Let's do it.
Yeah, right.
All right. Well, let's take a look at the bets that we gave out here today. We do have a few. I will specify whether these are half unit or full unit over the 5 that we have for tonight as well. So pay attention to that. But you can find these in the BetSimp app as well. First and foremost, we're going to go to New Jersey Columbus game. We're taking the regulation time money line for the New Jersey Devils. That is New Jersey to win in 60, -110 for a half unit there. Minnesota, Florida, under 6 +100. Full unit on that one. Detroit, Carolina, regulation time draw, +360, half unit on that. The Islanders, Blackhawks, 2 bets in this game. So Islanders, Blackhawks, regulation time draw, +360, full unit. And then finally, the Islanders, Blackhawks, under 6, -116 for a full unit as well. That'll do it for today's show. If you did enjoy the content here, please make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. If you're listening back in podcast form as well, please subscribe, rate, review, and so money. It kind of feels at this point like we are locked into the one chip challenge. So may the best man win. I have a feeling I'm going to be the one eating a chip. So if you're looking for that, subscribe to the channel. We'll put the video out here, or we'll go. Maybe I'll go live if that's what it is.
I thought we were doing this on Monday show. We're coming right back Monday, aren't we?
I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it Monday when we have to do this show. I cannot do that. I will not do that. That'll be a nightmare. I have to do other stuff on Monday as well. I'm gonna be out of commission. But yeah, subscribe to the channel if you do enjoy it, the content here. Like, rate, review, all that good stuff. We do appreciate all the support. Oh God. Moretto comes in last minute. Yes, you are. All right, well, we'll see. We'll have some discussions behind the scenes about when that'll be done. But regardless, you go to subscribe to see where and when it's going to be done. Thanks to everyone who tuned in here today. We do appreciate the support. You'll see Alex and So Money back here on Monday. Thank you guys for taking the time to do this here today. To everyone else, enjoy your weekends. Enjoy the games tonight. And as always, good luck on your bets.